Hands
angle
from
there,
Nathan,
nice,
big
nice
left
kick.
Here comes Jordan,
Jordan come back with those hands again.
Hey, yo, your boys are back in the seat.
Back together.
Again.
It's been a while.
Can't keep us apart. Yeah, man. I think it's more so on my side than anything. It's just like, it's been a very busy last month in the gym, but it's looking like next year's going to be looking pretty.
Yeah, you guys been doing work
Yeah.
on the administrative side.
Yeah,
administrative side,
yeah.
yeah.
Actually doing business stuff, which kind of
Yeah.
I suck at. I just kind of find out, I'm not very good at that stuff, but that's okay. I'll just leave it to my business partner, and I'll help out as best. I'll try not to fuck up as best as I can.
One of the best business decisions you can make is just clearly defining roles, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just figure out what you're good at and what I'm good at,
Yeah,
and just stick to that.
And how's your end of the year?
It was busy. It was busy. I think everything was like there was a lot going on around like the last fight, which came in. Oh, look, honestly, for a last fight of the year, mid-November was quite a good time because it leaves a little bit. Like we made the decision. Well, no, we thought about like squeezing one in for December as well, and I would have done it, but there wasn't anything going that really made sense. Like I don't think we were going to book anything in advance of the November fight for after it, like just to kind of fully focus and see what happens. After that, we were like, yeah, let's put the feelers out and see what's out there. I don't really think there was anything that, for something that made sense. Like I don't want to fight just for the sake of fighting. Like, is there a logical matchup? And I don't really think there was. There was only really like one or two more shows left in the year at that point, and like a lot of guys were booked and everything was kind of set at that point. But yeah, really busy, kind of trying to get that fight over the line for a few reasons. And yeah, I luckily have had a little bit of time to just kind of fall back to maintenance, I guess, a little bit. Like not.
A few more tats.
Yeah, get some tattoos.
I was just looking, just going, what the hell? Oh, okay.
Yeah, get some tattoos, of course. And yeah, just kind of like decompress a little bit, I suppose. Yeah.
How many fights did you have this year?
Six fights.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Good year for a pro fighter.
Not too bad, yeah. And I fought like quite late last year too. So I've had 6 or 7 fights in a 12-month span, which as you say, for like on big shows.
Yes.
That
Decent fights.
Yeah, big fights. A good frequency of significant fights. So it's been. I want a similarly busy year next year, but I think I'm at a point now where I really need to just like. As much like physically, I'm good. Like my body's pretty. A little bit like there's a bit of a sort of cumulative wear and tear when you fight repeatedly. Like just the reality is, you got to be smart about how you do things in your recovery and stuff. But the reality is, you just carry things from one fight to the next. There's just no way around it. So, but for the most part, physically quite good. A couple little things to rest off, but also you need to just sort of refresh yourself a little bit where you can.
Oh, of course.
I've never really been that good at that, but it starts to catch up with you a little bit, I think.
So old age now.
Yeah, getting older. Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's like an interesting thing I'm probably learning a lot now is that I always kind of thought burning out was something that happened to you when you kind of come to not really like what you're doing. And that's why I sort of just always thought I was like immune to it. Because I'm lucky in that regard. I never don't like training. Like there's some days where it kind of sucks, but I never don't want to do it, the fighting and the training. But it's like becoming conscious of the fact that you have to be able to be like, all right, but I'm exhausted now and I need to step it down a little bit. Because it's like if you wait till the day where you don't want to do it to kind of take a break, that day might not come. But you can still feel the adverse effects of burning out even if your enthusiasm remains. Yeah. Like your enthusiasm doesn't have to fall away, but it can still be the smart call to sort of, burnout can kind of show itself in different ways. It's sort of what I learn now. It's not like one day I'm just going to be like, fuck, this sucks. Well, actually, I'm like that a lot of days. It's not like one day I'm just going to be completely unenthusiastic and that's what's going to show me that I've had enough. It's like being a little bit more strategic about how you use potential rest times and stuff like that to sort of come back into it 100%.
Yeah, because like if you don't take those little breaks and notice, like you might miss things.
Yeah.
And like and then like same thing when I take breaks from there. Like that's when I probably get all my best ideas. And then like I could do that next training cycle, things like that. But because like because you're so involved in it, you kind of just focusing on the big rocks all the time.
Yeah.
And then you don't get to like put the sand in between.
And like I think as an athlete, like preparing for a fight becomes quite formulaic, and that's like, you know, in terms of a lot of the fight camp, if you will, process. Some people don't like that term. The weeks leading up to a fight, it's a lot about just getting in condition to compete. That's getting your weight down. That's just getting yourself ready to perform for the rounds that you've got. And it's that in between time that you really make the kind of broader strategic adjustments, and it's like really important to learn how to move into that. Naturally, the sort of intensity of that style of training will fall away because it's a little bit more of a working through new ideas and like kind of establishing new movement patterns and stuff like that. It's not that typical kind of grind, but is equally essential to just developing holistically. That it's like sometimes I kind of treat my fights like seasons, where it's like, all right, we've got 3 fights lined up over the course of the next however long. That will be a repeat process of fight camp, little rest, fight camp, little rest. And then it's like, if you do get the extended break, get some time where you're in the gym just hashing out new ideas and making significant adjustments, because it's difficult. Obviously, you're always adjusting on the fly, but taking that time to where you're not having to adjust alongside the really kind of strenuous elements of training, just kind of taking the time just to really rehash that movement rather than working everything at that fight level of intensity, which will naturally kind of slow your ability to develop in like a major way. It's just take time where you can just, and it's also like when you're always in that kind of fight camp intensity, it's hard to really just like introduce a new idea because you're kind of just hammering things in as they are.
Hard to learn something new in a fight camp, but like you don't have the bandwidth to kind of fit in there because it takes time to adapt.
Like a fight camp, I feel, is a lot more, and like your perspective might be different as someone who puts someone through a fight camp. It's like it's a lot more like, what do we have and how do we put that to work? Whereas like then when you don't have something on the immediate horizon, it's a lot more like, what can we add? Like what would be a useful new tool? Because that's a very different way of training.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you're like, you know, however you introduce something, you kind of get your reps. It's not like, here's a new idea, do it with 100% intensity, because that's not how you develop a new motor pattern.
Yeah, you just have to take it slow, controlled.
Yeah.
You got to allow yourself to make a lot of mistakes to get there on it as well, and then it takes time.
And that's that perspective shift of, if you're not, like that's kind of when it's probably like a topic that could be a whole podcast, right? That it's like the learning that you have to, I think if you want to develop as a fighter, it's like you should be in the gym all the time. It's just that intensity is going to, they'll still be doing intense training, but probably like there might be a reduction in volume or just kind of really take that top end stuff away. So it's a little bit more sustainable. It's not a matter of, am I in the gym when I'm like be in the gym all the time and then just allow how far out you are from a fight to dictate what style of training, and that's where the development comes from. Because I also think, like, you know, that's the problem that you'll find with fighters, if they have that mentality of like, you meet lots of fighters that are like this, like they're happy to train really hard, but if there's nothing on the horizon, they don't really come into the gym. And that's like the argument that you have, that is you still need to be there kind of. But, and that's, to me, that's where you really kind of remind yourself that you just do it because you like it. Like that's really like a fun way to gain some enthusiasm back. That helps you for when that intensity's got to go up. Like you kind of, then the fight camp becomes a chance to implement these new tools that you spend the time adding. Yeah, I think that these kind of like, obviously there's never really heaps happening fight-wise. Late December, early January is a really good time to just kind of take things at that level and just do it for fun.
Yeah. Nice. But like, yeah, it's just like you said, there's like, you can always be in the gym doing something. Like, you know, some people just need the motivation for fight camps.
Yeah.
But like really, like, you know, it should be motivation outside your fight camp to like add more arrows to the quiver.
Yeah,
of course. Like, there's always something you can always add to them all the time.
Yeah, and I think like time like this is really good to just take like a step back look at fights that have happened over the course of the year, what was going well and you don't often have time, especially if you fight busy, because you're not thinking about that one anymore. You're thinking about the next one.
Study it.
Yeah, it's good to step back and be like, because you'll also see you'll see things you need to work on, but you'll see like that's not a tool that I gave a lot of emphasis, but that's actually working really well for me. Like that's something that I should pursue without the pressure of an additional fight. Looking back on your fights gives you like a different perspective, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. You can pick up some trends that you just don't notice while you're in the melee of it all.
Yeah.
All right. So going to like the main bulk of our podcast from there. So we didn't have a lot of topics, but Muay Thai Australia did have their awards. Their first time their awards.
Yeah. Shout out to Aus Muaythai for putting this together.
Yeah, doing good things, covering all across Australia.
We used to have those Australian Muay Thai Awards where they had the show.
Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of like
Thai affair.
Yeah, this is kind of like the first Australian Muay Thai Awards since like the COVID break, I feel.
Yeah. I don't know if those other ones will come back, but it's good that we got something that kind of recognises all the good work that everyone's been doing.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I thought all the choices were good too.
Alright, so I'll just go into Instagram and I'll just kind of go at the order that they come up from there. Like we might even give our opinions, like in terms of like runners up as well.
Well, yeah, I think like my thing with the Muay Thai Awards is, I think all these awards were good, but also like there's a lot of choices where if you chose certain other people, like I think there is multiple correct choices for every one of these awards. Yeah. Like there's lots, especially things like up and comer and so we have lots of incredible up and comers. It's like there's lots of choices.
It was a good year.
Yeah, it was a good year. Yeah, that's really kind of the
that can boil it down to. So up and coming male of the year from SIG was Kale Wild. And he made his pro debut this year because he turned 18, and had a couple of good fights. Actually, I remember his last fight, like when he was fighting Mindo. I just didn't. I thought, man, Mindo's short, but I didn't realise he was that.
He's
that
really short. I was in the corner.
Oh yeah. True.
He's really short, and also like that was just a deadly combination of like Moo is really really short, he's really short, but also Kelly's offensively tall.
Yeah.
He fights at 54.
Yeah, he's a long.
I swear he's tall as me. Taller than me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You get there. He's still
I don't know.
as well.
Yeah.
But he needs to fill out sideways.
He'll be a super heavyweight when he fills out.
So I'm just kind of reading a little bit off the captions from here from Aus Muay Thai. So like he had 5 fights for 5 wins. So he won the WMC Junior Bantamweight Australian title.
I commentated that, I think.
Yeah.
Did I? I think I did.
1774.
Yeah. Myself and my friend Kieran Walsh.
And then ended the year against a very experienced Mudo, which like I been going into the bout, like I was going, I'll see how it goes, because like Mudo's got that man strength, like, built like a spark plug. But then as soon as like you see the face off and that, I go, oh man, this is a very big discrepancy.
Moo just couldn't get anywhere near him, eh? That was kind of like you could kind of see what the story of that fight was going to be. It was like the big power and Moo. Like, was he just going to walk through and start kicking out those big long legs and
big dumps?
Yeah, but just couldn't get anywhere near him. I don't think Cal even really got out of second gear in that fight, to be honest.
Yeah,
he was just chilling.
His game usually does. Just keep on the end of the range and just locked up pretty well.
Yeah, he's got a really nice style.
Yeah, I really like Cal's style from there. His pro debut was against
Fahed. Yeah, because that was like he would have gone pro earlier, I feel, in terms of the level that he was at. But you can't go pro until you are 18 in New South Wales. So that was just a matter of waiting.
Yeah, well, it's
to come of age.
SIG's got this team of young fellas at the moment.
Crazy,
like Adam as well had a really good fight recently on big elbow.
Yeah, but that's a scary one, Adam, because like I've been watching him fight. I already said this, didn't I? Since he was little. Like I remember him on a development day here at Double Dragon once, and like he's always had that nice Thai style, but I think he's really finding his man strength now.
Yeah, he does.
Like finding like because he's got this really nice style, but every time I see him, he looks like he's a little bit fuller and like that. Just that quick reaction on the elbow that he hit. Zelensky with, and I've not seen him really hurt someone like that a whole lot.
I
But
haven't really seen Zelensky really hurt him.
and he doesn't get hurt, yeah. So
Yeah, that was a big one. I didn't
Big
expect
one.
that at all. But yeah, that's what I do with that one. Like, you know, they got Kobe as well. They got James, who always looks like he's a man. Jacked as shit. And but yeah, it's a pretty actually it's a really good team of them coming up. So they're gonna be absolutely killed.
it's like we just reached this scary time that we talked about, where like all these little 10-year-olds have become adults. Like they've been fighting the whole time. Like a couple of years ago, we're like, man, SRG have all these really slick kids, and
Yeah.
like now they're just entering the adults one by one, just fucking everybody up.
Oh, true. And they've been prepping for this. Up and coming. So like, let's talk about runner ups. Did you have anyone in mind? If it could also would have slid into here.
You know who all could have been these? All Don's boys. A super fight have had a really good year, like progressing through that sort of Muay Vic system and onto the pros. I really like, and again, like we were talking about this before we recorded, I'm not sure what constitutes an up and comer exactly, like, because some of these guys maybe you'd say they're a bit more established, but I think most sort of had their first pro fight somewhat recently beyond the amateurs. I really like Kenta
Yep.
from Super Fight. I reckon he's sick.
Always like never dull moment.
Never in a boring fight. Never in a boring fight. Like, and I know he only went pro this year. I like JP from Super Fight too.
Yep.
He's a gun.
Yeah, I guess like with the term of like up and coming, it would be like first year of turning pro, and
Yeah.
like, I guess it's also like the depth of their division that they're not kind of hitting the top
Yeah.
straight away. Like some of
Yeah.
we talked about some of the girl divisions, so you gotta just in there straight away.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like all the super fight boys definitely had a great.
Yeah, that Super Fight team doing really well. You know, would you say, I suppose, Connor Goodman,
Got a good one,
he's
yeah.
a good up and comer. I like him a lot. Jack Matthews has been really impressive. There's heaps. Honestly, these are just ones that are coming to me off the top of my head. But they're all really good. These are good up and comers. And there is a good kind of... There's a really good stable coming out, like we were talking about, or I was talking about last week, the defined amateur systems that the various states are introducing.
Yep.
New South Wales will now adopt a system very similar to Victoria, and I think South Australia is kind of doing the same thing too. They'll have their Muay Thai leagues, like a truly amateur format, and
Like it.
yeah, and so you're starting to see like these, what would you call it, like introductory level pro fighters are kind of better than ever. And I think in the level of the up and comers right now are making the next few years shape up to be really exciting.
I think that's like a lot of time, or at the moment with promotion, the pathways the promotions are pushing to actually, create these kind of talents. Like,
Yeah.
So you got to have the proper pathways, or at least a structured pathway from there that's going to keep more people in the sport, get more experience on
Yeah.
them, and it's just got like Victoria's just a prime example.
Yeah. Yeah, but we've got like millions of up and comers really. Like I almost don't even want to bring up any of the more you guys because there's just like too many of them.
I know
But
there's a lot of them. It's my own Kai Wheat Jones. He did.
you guys had a good year.
But yeah, look, like really exciting scene, especially for our state.
Yeah. Like more you got a couple that are really exciting. Jerome Simban,
Yeah.
Kyle Buggy. Also one of Kai's opponents, Dylan Wickham. I think he's a
he
really
had
good
an
up and
awesome
comer.
fight.
Yeah.
I've seen him fight last couple of times after Kai, and nothing but improvement.
Yeah, no, I really like him. I like him a lot. I like him as a person. But I've also just been enjoying watching him fight because he's had a lot of fights that on paper he didn't really have any business being in. And it's just trucking through. He's been really busy. I think he had 7 fights this year.
Nice.
Stepped up again. Like Kai was much, much more experienced in terms of training time, amateur/pro fights than Dylan, but Dylan didn't care. Took some wins, took some losses, whatever, but developing his style really, really quickly.
Got a good attitude.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. I like these guys and that's what I like about those two Muay guys I mentioned as well. They just seem to be fighting all the time. It's no just bullshit. It's just show up and fight every time you get the opportunity.
I also that's that like this like it's like kind of like the no excuses either because Canberra they haven't got anything.
Yeah.
They have to travel to fight.
Yeah.
And they make the effort to do it, to travel and get the experience. So like like you got a lot of people who's like, oh, I'm not getting this. That's like, fuck. You probably have if you kind of just just pulled your finger out and like had a look around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, cool. So let's go into. So I'll go straight into like up and coming female of the year. Another SRG person. Favourite of ours, Dory Duncan.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like great
Really good to
fights.
watch.
Let's have a look. See here so much on top of it. So like she also made her pro debut this year.
Yeah.
As well. Before that, I think on Yokkao she might have had I think one amateur fight maybe this year on Yokkao.
Yeah.
Against the Nakzu girl, and then
We commentated.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I commentated a couple times this year, I'm pretty sure.
Like on Sign to Sydney, yeah, you would have commentated that.
Yeah.
And 1774.
I was busy that day.
Really dominating performances.
Yeah.
She just had.
And sick fights. Like she fought I think my understanding is she across a lot of her amateur career would kind of fight and then sort of have a break and in this last sort of year, 18 months has really started to get on a roll. So that in that sense I kind of became more aware of her, and of course because I was commentating a couple of the fights, I remember just being like, oh yeah, like she's really impressive, and I think the breakout performance for me was the Siam to Sydney one against the Strongheart girl. Because I remember just watching her right kick, like fuck me, like
It's hard.
yeah, but also very very beautiful to watch, like really solid, just well structured, strong stance, big power right kicks, and then just rolled on into that fight with Rosie from Super Fight at 1774. Yeah. That was I would have liked to. I mean, it was cool as, but that fight would have been sick if it
kept going.
Carried on. Yeah, because it was sick. Well, that's fighting, right? Doris Open a sick cut, absolute doozy cut.
Yeah. I like a Doris, she got a good style, but she kind of you get to see as soon as she kind of gets in the fight, she knows the mission.
She's mean.
Yeah, get in after it.
Yeah,
but in just such a nice, in a very precise manner as well.
Yeah.
Which is I really like to see. Yeah, strong, coming forward, but purposeful.
Yeah, really good to watch, and probably some big fights for her next year.
Mm-hmm. Up and comers, females, but runners up. Did you have any in mind?
Yeah, lots. Again, I'm not sure what you'd call an up and comer versus an established fighter. Of course,
it's one day I have to go over that criteria a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, fuck, I can make the rules.
Yeah, there was no rules set.
Yeah, true. Gabrielle Duramas is bloody killing it, of course, and I think I've given she's had to kind of step up and take some big fights that maybe you would like to get a little bit more prep for, and just sort of she fought Lucy Dedman in a third fight or something, and then rematched her a little bit later. So, but has really started to, I think, break out as one to watch recently, because she is absolutely lovely to watch technically. Styles coming together really well and had quite a busy year.
Yep. What about Allegra Vickers at the NT?
Yeah.
I think she was recently an SOG girl as well.
Yeah. I didn't get to see a ton of her outside of her fight with Katie this year. Of course, opportunities are probably somewhat limited up there, but good to see her getting to travel a little bit. Katie, of course, worth a mention. Again, not sure what's an up and comer versus what, but she probably only went pro this year,
right?
I
think she only went pro this year, so that's I think that's a fair enough call also.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I mentioned in my hardcore breakdown, she would be. I'm now not only making the rules, I'm just making up awards. If you were gonna say a most improved fighter, I would throw her.
Whoever seems to make a
name for
Rich Salaba, you could see a definite difference. And
the move to Machete's been big. Showing a lot of potential. And again, just busy.
Yeah.
Just racked them up. To me, in my arbitrary awards, that's how you would nudge forward, because just activity is a part of moving forward in Muay Thai.
Yep.
You have more fights, you improve more.
Yeah.
That's the way, yeah.
So you get your name out there, that's how it is.
Yeah, Katie smashed it. lots of there's just like there's so many. It's almost like there's so many choices, and like I don't want to.
Well, because I think
miss anyone.
this year in particular, because I guess after COVID and everything, this was the year everyone just goes, "Fuck it, I'm doing the thing."
Yeah.
Doing it pro and and just having a crack at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This definitely was the year for it. Alright. So we're going to promotion of the year. So hands down Rebellion.
That's a tough one.
It ended up being Rebellion, of course.
Yeah.
So obviously, their last card was really stellar from there. 2 WBC world titles from there. Chad Collins versus Yod IQ. Joan Lavas as Barbara Aguilar. Both were really good fights.
Yeah, it was fucking hectic.
And the rest of the fight cards were really good as well. They had yours truly on both of those.
Couple of appearances, yeah.
Make the last one.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I was there in the booth. I was in the booth.
Yeah,
I'm always around somewhere.
Let me see what else. But yeah, it's what can you say? Sai just knows how to do Muay Thai cards.
The reality is, and look, a part of it is that Rebellion's been, Sai's been refining how he does Rebellion for 11 years now. So longevity matters, and he's just really built a high quality show. But the promotional scene in Australia, especially I think we had a huge year in 2022. I was going to say 2021. we didn't have a huge year in 2021, but we did in 2022. There's lots of more high quality shows, but I still feel Rebellion is and I think not trying to slight any other show. I think Rebellion's still in a class of its own.
Yeah, it's a pretty high mantle to get
Yeah,
to.
and it's I think with that category of the higher end promotions they're starting to become a deep second tier. You've got your 1774, your Muay Thai League, of course your Eruption, your Destiny. There's heaps.
Yeah. Rise did the...
Rise was big.
The diamond belt.
Did Rise? I could be wrong. Was their first show this year?
I think this was their first time out.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Rise is the up and coming promotion of the year, right?
They're making the fights.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Nick Trask.
Up and coming promotion.
Yeah, that was massive. And you're seeing as well, I think, for the kind of show that these shows are, your 1774, your Rise, I think Rebellion's kind of paved the way that people are I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do a big, kind of a higher end production. But I think what makes, I've been in the stands in Rebellion as a fan, been on the show as a fighter, and a little bit of commentary, is that you just see that nothing kind of compares to Rebellion in terms of the sheer production value. When you fight on Rebellion, you really feel you're at the top end, you're on a big promotion, you're a superstar.
It even comes down to even just the little things at the backstage.
Massively. Everything is run like clockwork back there. And it comes back to that same point that longevity matters. These guys have been... The guys in the back of Rebellion are fucking sick.
Yeah.
They're so good. It's just everything at the right time. There's nothing missing. You don't have to ask for anything. Everyone's positioned where they need to be, and everything from the whole airport pickup process and stuff like that. It's I think it's cool that more promotions are looking at that model and trying to do it, because the more that a promotion tries to be like Rebellion, the better the whole scene is, because it's top class. It's real professional sports. That's what I feel like when I'm on Rebellion. It doesn't feel like you're a part of a niche event. It's this is the real deal. Yeah, hope to be back on Rebellion in 2023.
Yeah, always good. Need to go down there. It's always a good show. And even even it's their feeder show, Roots.
Roots is awesome as well. Yeah, I think
that a standalone show by itself. Really.
Well, that'll be the first one out for March. March 4th is Roots, just on its own. So a couple of top end fights and
good times.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, it's going up to the awards. So we've got knockout of the year. So Tyson Harrison versus Dom.
That was my pick too.
Yeah, well, it's talking about the fight a little bit, before that moment from there. Dom was looking like he usually does. He was looking pretty slick. He was getting out of the way of stuff. Tyson probably was not quite hitting the mark on a lot of things he was trying.
Yeah, he was kind of bullying Tom, but sort of struggling a little bit for that. Yeah, like Tom was like getting smothered, but generally managing to just evade the big damage blows.
Yes. Yeah, huge difference in size. And
Yeah, fuck, he's big, eh?
that. just a bunch of big dudes and everything.
Very well sized, 63.5, yeah.
But like, then like, just that elbow off the ropes there. Just got him straight down the middle.
Yeah, and it's like very calculated as well. Like really knew how to, and you could see, like we're saying, he was kind of not quite finding the mark on the kill shot, but he just positioned Tom to run into that elbow and
just kind of like just turned him to the ropes, little push off, and then Tom bounced off the ropes and he just timed it.
straight into the elbow. Yeah, crazy. And like, who's hurt Tom like that?
Nah, he fucking split his nose all across his face.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, and well deserved knockout of the year.
Yeah, do you remember any other knockouts in particular?
Adams was a good one that we just talked
Yeah,
about.
An
So
elbow one.
yeah, that's a bit of a spoiler. I did have some ideas. There were some big knockouts this year. I mean, when we're talking, this is a good question that I have on the criteria. When we're talking about knockout of the year, is that knockouts by an Australian or on Australian soil?
So if you're saying like an Australian overseas,
Yeah.
fighters,
Do you
right?
reckon you can get
Oh yeah, I think so.
Cruz Briggs,
Cruz Briggs.
Henry Lee?
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also. I reckon it should. Like I said, there hasn't been any rules set.
There's a couple of other big ones that I'm forgetting. Yeah, Adam's elbow was sweet. Cruz and Henry's worth a mention because that was wicked head kick.
Like it wasn't really like a knockout stoppage, but I really like the back and forth, like Charlie Bubb versus Jay Tonkin.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like, you think Jay's out and he just knocks down Charlie.
Yeah, in terms of the story, yeah.
And then Charlie came in through and just like, yeah.
Yeah, and talking not like knockout per se, but like stoppage, like David and Detrick was pretty cool too. Again, because of that kind of like build up.
Yeah, like, and it's like, I don't think there was it? Oh, yeah, fight. Yeah, we'll go for that soon. But yeah, there was plenty of like, good, really good fights this year. They did
Josh McCulloch and Nathan Jones.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, that one's right up there for me too. That's in terms of domestic KOs, Tyson and Josh McCulloch, they're like my top two.
Like, especially those ones where they kind of like Tyson as well and McCulloch, where they kind of just came out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, he's really put a beating on it.
They were shock value knockouts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go down a lot better for knockout of the year than more so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. All right, so that goes us into now Gym of the Year, and that honour goes to Mark P. Strikeforce.
Yeah.
Queensland.
Hard to argue with that.
Well, it's like, especially like this, like, well, if you kind of like, big stuff at the end of the year, you got, Chad taking the WBC world title, and right behind Jaden
the WMC.
title.
Chad also WMC Intercontinental title.
Yep. Belts.
Couple of state titles, some up and comers. Like Jagger Chan's really good.
Yep. Yeah, Jagger Chan, like says he's a winner over in Peony.
Yeah.
K1 Oz title.
I like him.
Anthony Pappas.
Yeah, Papa's had some good ones.
No,
James Honey
James
had
Honey.
a couple of big ones. Yeah, good
Dylan
stable.
Eddie, Clinton Cork.
Yeah.
It's like,
Big stable.
it's like, it's hard to argue. It's like Mark Pease always puts on. Like, it's just a good kind of team builder.
Foundation Australian Thai boxing gym, and almost like you'd kind of say like a resurgent gym.
Yeah.
Right now, like a gym that perhaps at a time, always had this big legacy, and then went through a period of time where they weren't producing as many fighters, possibly, but just have But as that's how gyms go, like stables take time to build. Yeah, and this era of Strikeforce is
Solid.
very solid. Yeah, but yeah, great year for Strikeforce.
Runners up.
For me, I think more you have a very serious. I mean, I'm saying that like I've got some fucking surprising take.
I think we've been saying that first podcast.
More you have, to me, a very serious argument for Gym of the Year. And again, it's like we're saying, you call Strikeforce the Gym of the Year, very well deserving. Call More You the Gym of the Year, also very well deserving. And like, just don't fucking DM me that your gym was the Gym of the Year.
So give me the numbers, give me the facts.
But for me, More You have a very difficult they're very difficult to kind of displace when you start to consider how many high quality stylists that have been developed from their first day of training was at Moyu. So when you look at it, I guess there's two different ways to view how you pick the gym of the year, and like Strikeforce have it in terms of like those top end world title wins. But in terms of like, if Kieran shows up with 10 amateur fighters, like, you know, he came to the, you know, won 19 fights in one day on the Siam Cup. Like, and these are all Muay natives, you know, like built from day one in Muay. Also, outside of that kind of engine room of up and coming sort of amateur entry level pros, you've got a busy, probably had the busiest international team this year, I think. Diandra, my hero, of course, a one championship superstar. Davina went over to the States, got gypped, but had a really good win. You know, Davey went overseas a couple of times. Max went overseas. So there's not really another gym, I feel, that has that number of fighters hopping overseas to fight, you know, to fight ranked opposition. I could have even been missing some. Excuse me if I am. I think that, yeah. But yeah, I really like what Moyu were doing in terms of like, he's got that team of guys that are really close to the top of their weight classes in Australia and ranked in the world, and also, and you know, employs them full time, like really kind of changing the model for a professional Muay Thai athlete, but then also an engine room of up and coming amateurs. Yes, seriously, like, big year for Muay.
Yeah, and it's kind of like in this term, it is a team. Also, like, you know, because like Kieran's at the top, but there's a lot of times like you go to this, especially like amateur shows of Delvin days, like that. Like he's not there, like, you know, Big David or like, you know, Max. So like, you know, it's good to see like he's not trying to do every single thing. Yeah. Because like the same thing that goes into that, even like the gym owner or fight team coach, like that's how you burn out. Yeah. Trying to get to every single thing. It's like, man, we can't all be Darren Reese.
But Darren Reese is in, and of course Riddlers are like, they're always going to be in the argument for the top gym. I think this is the first year in fucking forever that Riddlers didn't just win and like there was no close second. But Darren Reese is another good example. I think a lot of people are good trainers, but can you build a good system? That it's like Kieran doesn't have enough. Kieran or Darren Reese or whoever, these guys that have massive fight teams, there is no way you can individually develop every single fighter. You have to develop your fighters as a collective. And how do you do that? It's like you impart not just what you know in a one-to-one sense, but you teach someone how to teach someone else, and so on and so forth. And that's how you build a performance culture, is that like you really drive in, you don't just teach someone skills, you teach someone what your system is so that they can impart that. And, you know, so everyone's kind of, and that's why like, that's kind of the difficulty for me as an outsider looking at how someone becomes a successful trainer. I think that's the most difficult part, is how do I create a shareable system, something I can give to you and then you could give to someone else, not the individual parts of building a style that you can teach one person. And, you know, you see this sometimes through examples of gyms where a trainer is clearly quite good, he has an excellent student, but then like there's a disparity across all the students. Yeah, that's fair. I think, Moyu are definitely like, he's come up with a good sauce. Yeah. And yeah, I like it. I liked watching their guys fight this year.
Yeah, each one of them, like, always came in ready. Like, you know, never looked like out of place in the ring.
No.
All right, cool. So, next one is Fight of the Year.
Again. What's a close second? Fuck, this is wild.
Jonathan A. Lulu versus Cruz Briggs on Eruption 21. Yeah, well, what can you say this fight didn't have? Like, it's like it had everything. Back and forth, both guys getting fucked up and going.
Cruz Briggs fucking coming back from the dead like the Undertaker.
It's like the full like Tyson Fury like.
It
just shoots up here. He's coughing.
Jonathan Olu just has fucking missiles in his gloves.
But it's
not fair.
You see the highlights, but then you go, you're just like the highlights don't even cover that.
Nah, you got to watch that whole fight.
It was back and forth.
The whole fight is highlights.
Yeah.
And like, but that part in the second round where Cruz gets up off the canvas and almost left kicks Jonathan to the floor, crazy.
Absolute mad.
Cruz fought like a demon in that fight.
Oh, I like how it just kind of went. I don't think there was any other choice.
Nah, I was just wildest fight I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's just like,
It's one you had to talk about for a while.
yeah, like you could. I've watched it heaps of times. It's so sick. And like, just like, what does it take to make Cruz stop coming at you? You know, because like Jonathan hit so hard, and like, it looked like Cruz was out. Like Cruz's trainer was about to get in the ring.
He's already like,
Just genuinely during that 8 count, like your son who was getting into the ring, and then he's like kind of looks up like shit. He's actually getting up.
oh, here we go.
And then Cruz goes on to win the later part of that fight.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like a
Like,
serious show of
If
fortitude.
you haven't seen the dude,
Yeah, watch it.
Let's go to YouTube and go watch that fight.
This is one of those fights. Like we had the stream on TV, watching like a bunch of us, like just crazy. Like you're just watching history.
Exactly.
Amazing fight.
So up and runner up after this fight. Well, I really liked you versus Tim Dillon. I thought that was a really good fight.
That was a fun fight.
Yeah, like it's one of those like fun fights.
Yeah.
Lots of blood going around there, but like
Want to see it again?
oh, what not? Is that alluding to something?
Maybe.
But like it's definitely like, you know, especially when you got these type of fights and like your one as well. Like yeah, rematches are definitely warranted.
Yeah, I
Especially
think.
when they end up like a draw.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some crazy fights this year. Yeah, what else comes to mind for a sort of fight of the year? I watched a lot of good fights this year. You know, Charlie and Jay would probably have to be in the conversation in terms of those momentum shifts. Davey and Detrick was up there for me.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one. There's kind of some other ones like for different reasons in terms of like Tum versus Kumsab.
Yeah.
But just in terms of watching two ties of that caliber fight in Australia, I think was right up there. Again, just to be honest, one thing I'll call out is I missed more of the WA fights this year than I would have liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think. I don't think the West Coast. I've seen a lot of WA stuff, and there was a lot of cool shit happened over there.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm giving that enough credit. Just because like the time difference makes it really hard for me to catch the streams.
Yeah. And it's very long shows.
Yeah. Yeah, but shouts to like Muay Thai Grand Prix. Definitely one of the top promotions, and got some really big things planned.
Yeah. Like,
Next year.
like, you know, Darius was just randomly in front of my gym.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he's like, yeah, he's got some pretty big plans.
And he just saw the sign, eh?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like he works for like some kind of calving, and he said like he literally was just driving past. Goes, wait a minute. He sent me a message. Goes, are you in the gym? I go, so it happens I am. Why?
Good on
I'm
him.
outside. It's like, oh, okay, wait there. I'm gonna come see
Yeah,
you.
good guy, Darius.
Yeah, very good guy.
I'm hoping to go to WA next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Have a good trip down there, or across there. should I say.
Over there, whatever it is.
It's a long way. Alright, so let's go into the fighters of the year. So we've got female fighter of the year, Kim Townsend.
Dual world title.
Yeah. So just going off the caption from here. So okay. So oh yeah, that's the order. Okay. So yeah, WBC
Soraya
Australian,
Lisa, yeah.
flyweight title versus Soraya. Won that one. WBC World Flyweight title defeating Celeste Hansen. WBC Flyweight title defeating Lisa Briley. It's like
That's another one that's up there for fight of the year for me.
Briley versus
Yeah,
Townsend?
I really liked it.
Yeah, it was a good like
Yeah,
back and forth.
clash of styles.
Yeah. But yeah, you say Tim Townsend, like just like she just like you kind of known for like she wasn't like super active too long ago, and then all of a sudden just absolutely bashed out a whole bunch of these like world class fights in a short period.
She is and has been for quite some time Aus Muay Thai's unsung hero.
Yeah.
And I think this year started to get her dues a little bit, which is really good. Yeah, probably like really to me a front runner for who in Australia we should be sending overseas now. She's fought overseas before, of course, but I think worth some international opportunity. Of course, the best. I don't know which of those titles she will continue to hold. I believe you're only allowed to have one.
Okay. Yeah. That makes
Could
sense.
be different in a sort of a less kind of populated
It's
weight
like, you know,
class.
you'd be given like mandatory.
Yeah, in general, if you hold one title and you choose to fight for another one, that's actually when they strip
Okay.
your, like, just as a matter of rule. So I think the lighter one is the one that's her natural weight class. But yeah, because one of those was on short notice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she filled the gap. It was supposed to be Jazzy versus Lisa, right? And then
Yes.
Kim came in and just, I'm not doing anything. I'll come win the world title.
Yeah, and again, and did it in pretty good fashion as
Yeah.
well.
My world title commentary debut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Nicely. Runners up. That one. Joanne La had a good year.
Joanne La's up there, of course.
Like, you know, came short against Barbara, but like before that though, like
Climbed all the way to that
WBC
world title
Australian
shot.
title, had some really good fights. Yeah. Off the top
Lucy
of my head.
Deadman smashing it.
Yep, Lucy didn't. Yep, definitely.
The one to beat at mini flyweight, which is really small. But on a wicked run now. Can't remember the last time she lost. And seems to have really kind of, I think, like Gabrielle and Danny are kind of the other top girls at that weight, and she beat both of them this year.
Yeah. What about Deandra? For,
Of course, Diandra.
Yeah, just
That was my other pick. I think
get
because,
one.
Diandra's at the highest level in terms of like international like stature. Had 2 really good fights for one championship and has a really, really good one booked in too. So that's, Diandra's always going to be in the conversation for female fighter of the year.
Nice. But like, yeah, it's good. Like, it's good to see, like, especially
Davina too.
It's good. Yeah. It's like the female scene's like really building.
Yeah.
But you can have all these kind of great fighters, just like just on that precipice.
Yeah.
So going from there, breakthrough fighter of the year, Josh McCulloch.
Yeah, good pick up.
Chaffies. They're like from Tamworth, of all places. So going off his, like it says for his
He had a fucking wild year.
22 record was like, pro debut, defeated Nathan Jones by KO, defeated Jason Strati, defeated like Corey Barrett.
Yeah.
That looked like a
That makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't understand how that fight worked because, like, seeing Corey fight and go, how, what?
Because Corey fought Carter Lawrence for the Victorian state title at 67 kilos.
Yeah.
Not that long ago, really. And Josh's preferred weight is 58.
Yeah.
But Josh will go all the way up to 63.5.
Yeah, correct.
And Corey's come down to 63.5. And this was someone pulled out or something situation.
And then after that, for Nidichar, and Arono. And, like,
The Rono one was big.
yeah, just
They
like,
were all big, but the Rono one was big.
stopped 4 of those fights.
Yeah.
The person that made the decision was Jaden.
Yeah.
But yeah, what can you say? That just McCulloch doesn't have, like, what you would consider, like, like people would look at just like traditional Thai style.
Yeah.
Nor does he try and, like, say like, oh no, I don't like that. He's just got this this kind of relentless pressure.
And just like, I think sort of a deceptive kind of power at volume, like throws in this like touch, boom, touch. Like, he's not a volume fighter. He's not winning fights with work rate. He's just kind of drowning you and then picking the kill shot. Like, kind of just like creates these extended exchanges and then just sort of once you're not really sure what's going on.
Hides that head kick that he has as well.
Yeah, like a lot of dexterity. Knows how to and turns the head kick over from places it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm excited for what's to come from him. Honestly, a lot going on at that weight range. You got Ibrahim, my boy, at the top of the pack. Brandon Spain's back on the scene. Josh is. I still kind of feel like a bit of an underdog. Like, people don't.
Still there, still like, the naysayers are still going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think because he's quite an unassuming guy. And a big part of this is I feel he stayed amateur a fair bit too long. And it obviously hasn't hurt him. He's still 12, but so he's got time. But yeah, I think that just stopped him in a time when a lot of guys that he was at the same level as an amateur, went on to make their names as professionals. He was fighting on shows no one cares about.
Yeah.
So like it was sort of just building his experience in the dark, so to speak. But now like you can't dispute his record this year, 5-0 as a pro, all in his first year.
Against very good competition.
Yeah, against a really high, and often way out of his weight too. So
Yeah.
shout to Josh McCullough, Chaffee's Martial Arts. I like those guys. They're really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, and they like said they love listening to the podcast.
Like that's every time someone greets me with that, I think they're really nice.
Nice. All right, cool. Was there other breakout fighters of the year?
Again, it kind of depends to me
Like the difference, like breakout fighter. And
what you mean, and what's the difference between a breakout and an up and comer, and
that's what I was kind of thinking. I go, I don't know what quite the difference is.
yeah, so that just makes it hard for me to pick, you know, breakout fighter. You know, I suppose someone who really elevated their status this year.
I like Adam. SRG.
Yeah, that's a good pick actually, because it's like what we're talking about. He's been around,
He
but
fought, like someone very experienced in like Danny Roberts, and then like stepped up the competition into like Zelensky and looked good in both of them.
yeah, I think either of the up and comers, the awarded up and comers, do come to mind as breakout fighters for me too. Yeah, again, like possibly your fella Kai, probably a pretty good example. Started to sort of show up on the bigger shows this year.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a very it's very blurred line between up and comer and breakout fighter.
No, could you really say anyone who won a fight? It's just I don't know what sort of. Yeah, I like all of you.
Exactly. All right, so let's just go to the last one now. So it's our male fighter of the year, and it is.
Oh, actually, sorry, I'm gonna. Muhammad Dalan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
breakout
no, he looked good. Like I
fighter
said,
of the
probably
year.
another guy as well.
Yeah.
Like, stay amateur a little bit too long,
Yeah, possibly.
but he's like training with Chris Brigg and has looked really good.
Yeah, he's a problem at that weight.
Yeah.
So yeah, 63.5. Yeah,
3.5. Yeah, cool. Nice.
big
yeah.
power guy.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
fight as well. Was like,
Cracker fight with Geordie. Yeah.
like that could like always get fight of the year as well. Like,
Yeah, that's up there. Good for good back and forth.
All right. So yeah, male fighter of the year was like the Shark, Chad Collins.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, and it's a good story as well. Like we talked on the podcast with him before. Like just like always like that monkey news back. You were saying like the world title. Like had a few cracks at it, but
Had a few cracks at this. Is third time's the charm for the WBC world title, but it's important to note that like one of the titles he contend. It's not like he fought twice for the super lightweight title. Like he fought all the way up at super welterweight at one point. Fought the 154 pound world title and the 147 pound one. So this was his first world title fight at his weight. You know, and against a class opposition in your IQ PK Sanchar, and he just absolutely took him out. Yeah. That was something to watch. And it was nice to see, like, it was quite clear, Chad. I talked to Chad after about kind of what the plan was and stuff like that. And it was quite clear you were watching Chad execute a really tightly drilled plan, which is always cool to see. And he's not done this year.
oh yeah, that's right.
He's got a fight on Christmas.
The old Japan shows.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's like
On that big collaborative show between Glory,
Yeah,
Rise, and shoot
like,
boxing.
he's also been kickboxing. as
Yeah,
well,
it just
Muay Thai.
hops back and forth. Yeah, so I think the first part of next year will be a bit of a rest for Chad because he had a really busy this year, and then let's see what's on the cards for him.
Yeah, fair enough. Runners up for male fighter of the year.
Jake Lund's got to be in the conversation. Off of this is why I think you'd give it to Chad over Jake, just because Jake had the biggest win. In terms of like George Mann looked pretty untouchable.
Yeah.
But I feel the two opponents Jake fought before George this year were not really in the same class as him.
Oh, yes, fair.
So like, Chad had a more consistent year. And Jake kind of had the marquee win. So Jake's right up there for fight of the year, and I hope he's going to be busy again now because he's just proving over and over again that no matter how many times he steps out of the mix, he can just step right back in and take people out. So, yeah, big year for Jake Lund. I mean, and before that, it would have been George in the conversation too. He's probably got a pretty good argument for Fighter of the Year also, even coming up to some international wins.
The big fellas.
Yeah, and some big ones on the cards. I've heard some ideas for matches for him that are looking really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Don't know. I mean, like, again, lots of choices
Like
for Fighter of the Year. I think to me they're the top two, Chad and Jake Lund. Could be forgetting someone, but
that's right.
these things happen.
They'll figure it out. All right, cool. And that should do it then. But yeah, like the Aus Muaythai Thai Awards from there, go check them out on the Instagram.
Media publication of the year.
Yeah, it's like
and I know you're the only one, but you are a really good one too, Aus Muay Thai. So it's not a participation award. I choose
but
to.
But you're actually doing it.
Yeah. No, Aus Muay Thai's been a really good addition to the Thai boxing scene. Just something, it's run very professionally.
Yeah.
I think that's what we've always been missing, is something that just keeps everyone in the know. There's so much going on, but a lack of kind of standardization. Just lots of shows to sort of follow, and not everyone's a maniac like me. So it's nice to just have that condensed. He's a cool fight that's on, and definitely in his work shows a lot of care and knows what he's talking about. So yeah, and big supporter of the podcast as well. And I think if we're going to try to grow Muay Thai, we should work together.
Of course.
So yeah, happy to see Aus Muay Thai doing bits out there.
No problemo at all. All right, cool. All right, so that'll do us for this week. And
do us for the year.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm not gonna make any promises.
In closing for 2022, unless we do it again, which we might. What's your key lesson learned for 2022 as a gym owner and a trainer?
My key lesson learned.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can revise this later, but just what comes to mind.
It's just it's same thing. It's probably just like just trying not to do everything.
Yeah,
it's like that's probably what I kind of really learned, especially in this later half from there. It's like being able to, like you were talking about before, is like, teaching, like having that system to be teachable, to kind of like keep teaching forward. And I've got a bit at the moment, but now I just just pull myself off that a little bit. Like, it's actually covered, and just let the others just do their work, and we are building a lot more of a team now, and that's kind of geared towards that. So that's my big lesson. Is handing over a little bit more control to the generals that are underneath me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Building a hierarchy, building a defined hierarchy.
Yeah, it's like a replicable system. It's pretty well.
I like it.
Yeah. About yourself, it's like, a fighter or a person.
I should have thought if I had an answer before I asked this question. No, I learned heaps this year, to be honest. Yeah. I think 2022 was an interesting year as a fighter because, of course, the 2 years that came before everything was kind of off. Like, I was lucky. I got to fight in a bunch of the year. I've fought I was never not fighting completely, but there were long bouts of inactivity. And I think also for kind of the time in my life I was at, for the lockdowns and things, I had a lot going on outside of fighting. So this was the first year where we were back and we were busy. Like, I got to have fights, but they were in the lockdown years. But this was the first year of a full schedule. And I think I felt the effects of, when I wasn't fighting because of the lockdowns, I was kind of building that, my day-to-day a little bit. Like, I was, like in the time before, like when we went into lockdown, I just got back from Thailand, and in my fight career before that, I was at uni, and I was like, I didn't really have shit all else to do. So like, I trained all the time, but like, I didn't have fucking anything else on. And then this year is like, I think fighters are naturally like obsessive. Yes. So it's like, when you don't have fighting to do, you're going to pour all your efforts into something else. And for me, that was like career stuff. And then this was the year that I've now got this like really busy life outside of fighting. And you have to just drop in a whole 6 fight a year schedule onto it as well. And really learning a lot about like how ruthlessly you have to protect your time. Yes. And it's like, to me, I'm learning about the balance between being like supportive to the people around you, but also being like, I don't have the bandwidth to do that because I have to just take care of my own mental. And like, I say I learned this, but it's not so much something I learned as like just did wrong. Yeah. Like I haven't solved the problem, but yeah, I think like I think really like the overarching thing is like designing the life that like Muay Thai is really fucking hard to do because it doesn't pay your bills, you know? So I think the lesson that I would sort of give or try to put together for other people, you know, if I was sort of starting to train up a fighter, it would be like, it is up to you to design the life that facilitates Muay Thai. And that often means having hard conversations. Or yeah, like I say, just being ruthlessly protective. Like if you designated some time to do nothing, that's not free time, right? That's not time to be given away. That is your time to do nothing. And it's like, I guess it's like, I think as a fighter, a Muay Thai fighter specifically, where it's like, you got to balance the 9 to 5. You got to be like ultra protective of your time and still learning how to do that properly, I feel.
Yeah.
That's like more of a work in progress than a lesson learned.
that time goes on, just get a bit better at doing it.
Yeah. It's not easy being a millionaire fighter and superstar podcast host.
All right, guys, cool. So thanks again for listening to us. If we don't see you again the rest of this year, enjoy your
eat, drink, and be merry.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your year.
And tell us what you want to hear in 2023.
Yeah, that's it. You know, always open for ideas. Like, what do you like? Do you like guests? Do you like breakdowns? Do you like recaps? Do you like news? Whatever.
Recipes?
Maybe. So
probably not.
Yeah,
I don't have any.
A good laugh recipe? It's like, I don't.
Guest appearances from Cruchet.
Of course, yeah. What was that? Yeah, more ties on the podcast.
Can do.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Why not? Sounds good to me. All right. So remember, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Instagram, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Peace.